Greetings, welcome back to the Man Cave for another episode of Man Cave Meals Questions and Answers. I got a question this week that I'm going to take, and we're just going to do a single question. This one I've got a lot to say about, and hope I don't bore you with it, but here we go. This one comes from Scotty Hopkins in Havelock, North Carolina. Scotty says, let's say I'm cooking a Boston butt and say a sirloin tip roast on the Acorn, which is a Kamado grill, and they're pretty close in weight. Which one would I monitor for internal doneness, and which one should go on top of the hover rack, which is the elevated rack in the Acorn? That question is one that actually bothers me. First of all, I would say don't do that. Let's stop here and take a look at what you're cooking. You've got a Boston butt and a sirloin tip roast. Those are two drastically different pieces of meat. They may be close to the same size and weight, but you have to look at what you're cooking and understand that meat before you cook it. Boston butt is a barbecue meat. The sirloin tip roast is not. And when I talk about barbecue meat, I'm talking about things like brisket, ribs, Boston butts, chuck roasts. Those are the four that I like to look at that all fall into a category. They have one thing in common. They have a good amount of fat and a good amount of collagen. Collagen is connective tissue that exists inside a muscle, and collagen is very tough, and it's very difficult to cook out. That's why those pieces of meat require, or they do better, they get more tender when you cook them for longer periods of time. It gives that collagen time to break down. That collagen that's so tough, you know, it becomes a jelly almost, and it will render itself out mostly with a low and slow cook. A sirloin tip roast is a whole different beast. That meat does not have a lot of fat content, does not have a lot of collagen either. That meat's going to be more tender naturally. So when I get questions like this, and when I read about people cooking non-barbecue meats like you would cook a barbecue meat, it bothers me a little bit. There's no reason to cook a sirloin tip roast low and slow for a long period of time, and these two comparisons, those two pieces of meat, you would definitely want to monitor the sirloin tip roast no matter where you put it, because unless you like your steaks well done, that piece of meat, you know, if you want it to be medium rare, is going to need to come off when it hits, you know, 130 degrees internal, 130 to 135 max. You want to get that guy off of there. The longer you cook it, the more well done it gets. And pieces of meat like that have lower amounts of fat and low collagen, they get tougher the longer you cook them. You know, if you've ever had a well done steak, you know how they're chewy like shoe leather. You want to try to avoid that, and that brings up the, you know, chicken and turkey. I've read stories, you know, everybody thinks everybody's cooking their chickens and turkeys low and slow. I don't understand the purpose in that. I understand wanting to get a smoky flavor in that poultry, but poultry's like a sponge. You can make a chicken taste like a cigarette butt if you put more than just a couple of chunks of smoking wood in with it and cook it for any length of time. That stuff will absorb smoke till the cows come home. I'm serious. You can actually over smoke that stuff, and poultry has no collagen in it and very little fat inside the meat. So, you know, you got nothing there to render. It's just going to dry out the longer you cook it. I like to cook non-barbecue meats at higher temperatures for shorter amounts of time. That way I can get a little bit better caramelization on the outside of the meat and you know, seal that goodness in. You know, that's why you see a lot of people, before they'll before they roast something like a sirloin tip roast, or a chuck roast even, they may sear the outside of it and then slow cook it. But I really, really don't like the idea of cooking a sirloin tip roast low and slow. I would cook that guy at 375 to 400 degrees until I got to 130 in the middle, because I like medium rare. If you like it well done, you're going to want to cook it to 160, but you never want to cook a piece of meat like that up to 195 to 200 like you're going to cook a Boston butt, because you're going to ruin it, and it's going to be, in my book, inedible. I don't know who would eat that, but I definitely wouldn't. It's like I said, you need to understand the meat, and once you understand what it takes to cook that meat, you'll know how to cook it. You'll know what kind of internal temperatures you're looking for, what kind of times you're looking for, and how you want the outside of the meat to be. Everybody's got preferences. I understand that, and you may prefer your sirloin tip cooked low and slow, but even if you do that, it's not going to be a very long cook, because it's not going to take it that long to get to 130 internally. Even if you're cooking that at 225, it's going to get to 130 in a couple hours. And Hemingway is looking for some attention tonight. He wants to be on camera, so he's my buddy. He likes his steaks medium rare, and he likes his Boston butts well done. So Hemi, should we cook a sirloin tip roast low and slow? He says no. He says, no way, dude. Let's don't do it. Let's get the heat up for that kind of meat. Okay, that's about all I have for this week. I just wanted to get on my soapbox a little bit about that issue. It's one that comes up a lot, and it's one that I don't talk publicly about very much, because I know everybody's got their own opinions and the way they like to do things. But here in the man cave, we've cooked all this meat multiple times, and I know how I like mine, and I'm just sharing that information back with you, and you can do with it what you will. But like I said, if it's barbecue meat, treat it like barbecue meat. If it ain't barbecue meat, don't. Cook it like you would, regular meat, higher temperatures, shorter times, and do watch your internal temperatures. So, till next time, Man Cave Meals.